What's going on, everyone? Nick from Comic Culture here. It's time for Nick at Night, my weekly comic book review show. Let's get into the books I read this week. We're going to start over in DC with New Gods issue number 9. Rom V on this one. We have a new main artist on this issue right here. We have Par. So Kegel is only doing the first couple of pages. The rest of it is going to be handled by Par right there. And it is very, very different from what we've seen before. It has a little bit more of a cartoonish style to it. And I will say this is probably the third or fourth New Gods book in a row where we don't really have a whole lot of exciting things happen. We have some interesting things happen for sure, some cool character interactions, things like that, progressing the story forward just a little bit, but there's no like big bombastic moments inside the issue, which is really kind of letting me down over and over again. So my overall excitement for the series is going down a little bit. But like I said, we do touch base with some of the folks in here. We have our child, our prophesized child, featured inside of here too, getting some shady advice, trying to like figure out which side he's going to fall on, more of a rebellious side or fall in line with the heroes themselves. We do have a promotion of sorts within the ranks of the New Gods, and I'll let you see a little bit about that and some of the non-celebration that happens during that entire thing. That was handled kind of odd, I thought, as well. We get some either deep cut or brand new Green Lantern action inside the book too. So, there are interesting moments inside of here, but there's nothing that really cranks up the excitement, makes you like can't wait for the next issue. None of that really happens inside of here or in the last couple of issues, I would say. So a little bit of a letdown. I know I'm being a little bit rough on the book, but I want that exciting atmosphere back that we got in the first couple of issues. I haven't seen it in a long time. What'd you guys think? Next up is Absolute Batman. We have issue number 11. Snyder on this one. Now, Clay Mann is on the art, so Dragata is not on this issue right here. And this whole issue was basically a big what if kind of a scenario right there. We have this overarching narration that's talking about how Bane came to be, his origin story, but also his plan for Gotham, for the Batman himself. And he's kind of orchestrating or narrating what will happen, these different steps and whatnot. Since it's kind of outlining the steps that Bane is going to take and the order of operations and everything, it's kind of a cautionary tale, so to speak, or maybe it's one version of Bane's plan overall. I will say that it's a big, big bait and switch, I would say. There are some really interesting, cool, exciting moments that happen inside the story that I kind of wish they leaned in on and actually made happen. I think that would be really gutsy and ballsy to do. It's Absolute, man. Let's get crazy. Let's get weird. Let's not have like a dream issue where this could happen and how cool would that be, and then strip it away, which is basically what they did inside the issue. Now, with all that said, the origin story of Bane is intriguing. I did like all the little nuances in there, and it was interesting to see like where this character came from, how he was influenced, the relationship with his father, all that stuff, and this mysterious Joker character that who knows if we're going to see. It's a Snyder book. Of course, we're going to get it eventually. The origin story was okay, right? I just had a big problem with the entire bait and switch that happened towards the end of the issue. So we're going to see what's going on in subsequent issues, but Absolute Batman issue number 11. Let me know what you guys thought. Next up is Batman and Robin Year 1. We have issue number 10 right there. So we have Wade and Samney and Lopes on this book. Production quality-wise, it's outstanding. I love the vibe, the atmosphere, the colors, the expressions, the character interactions. The story itself is really solid as well. So if you're looking for a great dynamic duo kind of a book, definitely check out Year 1 if you haven't yet in collected edition, or wait for the ultimate edition when it comes out eventually. I do like that the book continues to have some great twists and turns in it. We're getting a lot more understanding of the gangsters and who's actually running the town right here, where the allegiances are, and the usage of Clayface himself and the mad scientist element they've thrown into this to build this army. I think that's really cool. And the high stakes. This book is all about high stakes. Every single issue or mini arc in here puts Batman and Robin in a very, very uncomfortable situation, almost to the point of losing their lives or losing control of everything, and this is no exception right here. So not only do they have to take on this impossible army that's being built right now by some of Gotham's gangsters, but they're also getting split apart by like bureaucracy and legality issues and things like that. So they have a lot of different things they have to combat in here, and now they're being stripped away, and we're going to be seeing how they can get out of all that in later issues. So like I said, if you're looking for a great dynamic duo book with great production, amazing writing, great artwork and everything, definitely check this one out. Issue number 10 was great. Let me know what you guys thought. All right, let's go over to Marvel next. We have Imperial issue number 3. Hickman on this one, Vincentini on the art. So I did not enjoy issue number 2 so much. We had a lot thrown at us, but issue number 3 is supposed to be that issue where everything is explained. We get some more ideas of where the story is going to be going, who the key players are. This is definitely that issue from a formulaic point of view, but I mean, be careful what you wish for in this right here. Man, we got some amazing catching up here with some of the different characters trying to deliver the message that all hell's breaking loose. There's this giant war going on. All these different factions are against each other. So we got to warn the commoners, right? The people back at home that war is coming, stay in your homes and, don't get in the way kind of a thing. But we also get, by the use of some cool Novatech right here, the insight on who exactly is playing this dangerous game right here. And I had no idea who that was going to be. Some characters that we haven't seen in quite some time, I would say. And it's kind of this weird dick measuring contest throughout the entire issue. And it's overly complicated, I would say. These two characters are the same ones we saw in the very first issue. They're playing this deadly game right here. They have a deal they're brokering back and forth. You beat me and I give you this. I beat you. You do this for me kind of a thing. These are really ancient people. Well, one especially is. And you don't exactly know like why he's participating in this, just because of his age and experience and how he's manipulated the scene in the past. We do get some cool insight on the other player. I'm being ambiguous on purpose so you can just understand and read this book on your own. But we do see what they're going for in here, and that element is pretty exciting, but I kind of got lost in the narrative a little bit. It seems overly complicated. Who's against who? How'd they pull those strings? All that stuff. Man, your eyes kind of glaze over about 3 or 4 pages into all that explanation. And yeah, I just didn't really enjoy some of that right there. The opening was pretty cool. The ending was interesting. It's everything in the middle that really kind of gave me a headache towards the end. But, great visuals and everything inside of here. It's an epic cosmic tale told by Hickman, man. So if you're into that kind of thing and you have the patience for it, check out Imperial issue number 3. Let me know if you did. All right, let's go over to Mad Cave next. Wild Animals issue number 2. We have Brisson on the art and we have Khan on this one as well. So I didn't really love issue number 1. And I didn't love it because of just the plausibility of it all, right? We have this kid who's growing up. His father was in the police force. He was murdered by other police officers. This big cover-up happened. He was disfigured in the entire engagement. And he's grown up kind of like a loser kid. And eventually he grows a pair and decides to get revenge on his father's death, going to track down those police officers. But he's not capable at all of doing this. He's got his own problems, his own health problems, motivation, physical strength, all that stuff. And that's where it kind of loses me, to be honest with you, just the plausibility of it, because it's a grounded story otherwise. But having this kid go into these different towns, track these cops down, these crooked cops who are normally doing some shady stuff all the time, who are well equipped, well trained and everything, have lots of experience, and being able to take them on in any kind of situation is where it's kind of falling apart for me. But of course, what will probably happen is through a series of unfortunate events for the crooked cops, this kid will rise up and take on that threat right there. And that's exactly what we see inside of this issue, just through happenstance and pure luck, I would say. With all that said, I will continue reading the book because I do like stories about people getting revenge on crooked cops and gangster kind of things, more grounded type stories, which is the intriguing part for me for this. But Wild Animals issue number 2, what'd you guys think of that one? Let me know down below. Next up is Space Opera Xanadex Across the Unknown Dimensions of the Galaxy by Tom Scioli, the graphic novel right here. Now, we met Tom Scioli over at Heroes Con this past summer, and he said he had a new book coming out. I pre-ordered it right there. It's out this week. Pretty cool book. If you're used to Tom Scioli's artwork and his storytelling, you know exactly what you're in for in this story. It's wild. It's over the top. It's got a lot of familiar references inside of it, and it's just a joy to read. A lot of cool moments inside the book for sure. Very art heavy, I would say, so there's a lot of reliance on that to push the story through, which I think is pretty cool because there's a lot of action inside this book, so you don't really need a lot of dialogue bogging that all down. It has a lot of emotion. You're never lost in who these characters are, things like that. Speaking of characters, we have a lot of different perspectives in here too. We have our main Wolverine miner guy that's getting revenge, his evil twin brother who's trying to manipulate everything. We have this dark side kind of character, Wrecking Shop. We got this pirate queen who's going around with her forces trying to go on this heist mission right here and trying to further their own needs. So you have a lot of cool characters and things happening, and their stories all wind together inside of here. So if you're into Tom Scioli, you want to support the guy, you like his artwork, his storytelling and whatnot, make sure to check this one out right here. Crazy title, interesting book. Let me know if you guys read it. Exquisite Corpses issue number 4 is out. Now, I liked issue number 1. It was double-sized, great at setting up the scene, all the different characters, the stakes and everything. Issue 2 and 3 kind of bored me, to be honest with you. There's a whole lot of dialogue, a lot of people talking about their revenge ideas and things like that. There were some cool moments inside the book with the serial killers and everything, but it really didn't crank it up. This issue was a lot different from those two. I actually enjoyed this one a lot. It mainly focuses on one killer. She's trying to find her cover crate right now. And we have this Fox character that we've been teased on every single cover for this and every variant, I would say. Their interaction right there. There's a lot of chemistry, a lot of background between those two characters, maybe even a love interest as well, which was also pretty cool. So it was refreshing to get more of the battle. I want to be more in that town, seeing what's going on. I want to be in that killer's perspective, seeing all those interactions and the relationships between them. I really couldn't care less about the billionaires that are running the show, or maybe even some of the ancillary people that live in the town themselves. But, you know, they're key elements of the story too, but I really am interested in those killers themselves. And we got a lot of that inside this issue. So I'd say it's a step in the right direction right here with issue number 4. I'm sure we're going to be bouncing around perspective-wise in the next coming issues and whatnot, but I enjoyed this one. What'd you guys think? Continuing image, we have Escape issue number 1, Remender and Acuna on this one. I was so excited for this book to come out. I got an advanced copy and I looked through it a little bit and I was blown away by Acuna's art. I absolutely loved it back on Avengers Twilight, and it's on full display here again in Escape number 1. I didn't really know what I was going to be getting with the story right here. We have these anthropomorphic animals. They are in like a World War I, World War II situation. They are about to drop bombs on their enemies, and they're going through all these interesting conversations about the morality of all of that. Like, what do they have to go home to? They would do the same thing to us. It's a very trippy psychological conversation that they have about just like how dulled out these soldiers are and performing these heinous actions, to be honest, and all the drama around all of that. And I think that only works if you have a lot of interesting perspectives too. So there's a lot of different characters in here engaging in that conversation, and you get to see it from all points of view, which is pretty cool thing that they did there. But the action really dials up in here when their presence is known, and all of a sudden, you know, like the anti-aircraft things start blowing off, and we start getting some casualties, and really the stakes increase so rapidly inside the story. It's one of those books where as I'm reading it, I'm getting closer and closer to the page because I'm just getting sucked in by the action and just the raw speed of this book and just the drama of it all and the casualties and everything. It was really, really brilliantly done. The colors are so brilliant inside the book. It's not a wide variety of color, but it's used to accent certain images and provide some drama and everything. So I think that was great the way that they handled all of that. It matched the pace of the story itself. But yeah, I can't wait for more issues of Escape, the inevitability of being behind enemy lines, escaping all that stuff, walking through the carnage that you just created. What a great story this was. Issue number 1's out. Make sure you read this one. Continuing image, we have Ghost Pepper issue number 2. Really great style to this book. I really like the color scheme. I like the artistic approach. It has a very manga vibe. The characters are really cool and everything. I will say I'm still warming up to the story, although we get a great amount of information inside this issue here that kind of puts a perspective on who our character is, our like silent, brooding, very strong Superman kind of a character. We still don't know a whole lot about our food truck girl. She's just a cool coincidence to be in the story and interacting with this brute kind of a guy. But we get a little bit about his background, what his revenge mission is, and we're still understanding the history behind all of that, but the stakes are now more known than ever, and we also know a little bit more about our characters and how they fit into the grand scheme of things. So I think if you really liked issue number 1, I think you're going to like issue number 2 even more because it adds more flavor to the world and the characters and the objective here. And I think if you're on the fence, it might help out too because it does a great job of explaining what's happening and who these people are. So check out number 2 if you didn't like number 1 necessarily, and I think it's a pretty cool ride so far. Ghost Pepper number 2, let me know if you read it. Remender, back with another book with Paul Ezeketa. We have The Seasons right here with issue number 7. Great stylized book, just like Ghost Pepper, I would say. Great job of introducing us to this world, all these different characters and everything. The story is a little bit more hokey, I would say, in here, and gotta be honest, it feels like a great trade read. So if you haven't gotten into the single issues yet, you might want to wait for a great collected edition. I think it would read very well inside of there, and maybe be a little bit more enjoyable because you get to consume the story in basically one sitting. But in this issue, we have Spring still escaping this evil circus right here with her sister Winter, who is featured on the cover right here. We're touching base back with a lot of the different people we met in the first couple of issues in the town that she's terrorizing essentially just by being the mail carrier. And we get these obscene, shots of this evil clown posse, right? Hijacking airplanes, going all over the place, these snake-like tentacles taking everybody out. They're basically consuming the town as these sisters are on the run, kind of like punishing them for running to begin with. I will say, if you're not a big fan of Ezeketa's art, I don't know why you wouldn't be. You get a lot more of that inside of here. Of course, the colors are just brilliant inside the book, complementing that art style. And the final dramatic page turn, which I won't do right here, shows you exactly like where we're going to be going in this story. How are we going to take on this big threat? We get a glimpse of that in the last page turn right there. So it's got me excited to see where the story goes. Seasons, issue number 7. Let me know if you read it. Next up from Image, we have Invincible Universe Battle Beast. We have issue number 4 right here. Robert Kirkman, Ryan Ottley on this one. It's been a great series so far, and I really like the mentality of Battle Beast trying to die that warrior's death, trying to find the monster, the beast, whatever it is that will finally take him out. We're back now to the planet where our prince is from, essentially, that he saved in a previous issue. There's a big monster that's taken over the planet, and they're trying to find their way through to the capital city, kind of finding themselves in a Hansel and Gretel situation. There is this temptress, right, that is kind of stuck right here, turns into a big, ugly, giant monster, but ultimately helps them get oriented and, get rearmed to take on any kind of threats that might be coming up very, very soon. So it's kind of a transitional issue. There's not a big giant monster that he fights necessarily. Gains some more allies, gets put back on the path, and gets rearmed in the process. And I can't wait to see where this stuff goes right here. Man, Ryan Ottley's doing a great job with the art on here. And the coloring is spectacular too. Really engaging story. It's fun. It's crazy. It's a great issue to put between two complicated, really deep issues. And I'm just having a great time with this one. Let me know if you're reading it down below. Let's go over to Ghost Machine with Hyde Street issue number 8. Jeff Johns on this one. We have Reyes on the art, and we have Mackay, I think, on the inking as well. Brad Anderson on the colors right there. So this one's following up with Pranky. He stole some kind of artifact from Mr. X-Ray, and basically it's a mask, kind of like the Jim Carrey mask, but it turned him into a werewolf, and he's trying to get out of this curse right now. It's very much like a monkey paw situation. In fact, Mr. X-Ray here says that everything in his office is essentially a monkey paw trick that they have to get over. So this is a great issue that explores a little bit more about the Hyde Street characters. There's this special doctor's office, there's these nurses and things like that. It introduces you to a lot of different characters in the story, and they're all gruesome, and I just love everything about it. The artwork in particular, man, the artwork is so strong in this book. Everything is beautiful. The colors are great. It's spooky. The characterizations, the backgrounds, everything about it is really eerie, and I'm really digging that here. So it perfectly matches the tone of the story. So it's just a great, great package overall. One of my favorite characters in the previous issues was that Frankenstein analog that we have. I think he's just called the Monster. He might have a more appropriate name, but he's also featured at the end of this book right here, and I can't wait to get him back in the story because he's such a compelling character. One of my favorite issues of Hyde Street was his origin story, so I'm really excited to get him back into the game right here. Hyde Street issue number 8 continues to be very, very strong. Great story, great artwork. I'm loving this book. Let me know if you read it. Let's wrap things up with Falling in Love on the Path to Hell issue number 9. Now, the release schedule for this book is pretty insane, and so I think that it's really hurting the series overall, but this issue not so much, because this is a backstory on our Japanese warrior. I think her name is Asami, something like that. This is taking us back to when she was training. She was becoming part of this elite woman's-led squad, joining the men in the battles and whatnot, so it's kind of an origin story on that, the political issues around all of that, maybe the cultural issues surrounding that. She actually turned down being married to a very powerful person in her day, and so there's a little bit of a revenge mission in there as well. As they go to battle, there are some hard feelings obviously being shown on the battlefield, and she has to deal with all that in very brutal ways and try to save the legacy of the women that came before her in going into battle and whatnot. So there's a lot of gruesome battles inside of here, lots of revenge things, lots of beheadings, a lot of cool stuff that really just set the stage for her as a character itself, and it doesn't really impact what's going on in our current day story, but it gives us a lot of needed backstory on two characters that are going to be facing off when we get caught back up, presumably in the next issue. So do a really great job of providing us that needed context on the relationship between two characters. That's going to pay dividends later, probably in issue number 10. Number 9 is out. I thought it was pretty cool. Did you guys read it? What'd you think? All right, guys, that's what I read this week. I hope you enjoyed that. Let me know down below what you read and what your favorite books of the week were. While you're down there, like, subscribe, share, hit that bell notification to be alerted whenever I put out new videos. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the comments.